I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March
That's
8th.
like, right,
Wow.
yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. I love those minutes.
Yep. Okay, Barbara,
Second.
John, he takes great minutes. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? So moved. Okay. Okay, let's, is Peter coming to pick up?
No, but don't, it's fine.
So
She's
you
in
want
weather.
to start?
No, I'll stay for I'll try and stay for the whole thing.
Oh, okay, good. All right, we have. I think I've got you on the agenda for Bob.
Yeah, that's true.
Just take,
Do you wanna,
let's,
modify the agenda and let Mike go first, or?
You don't need to do that. I'm interested in staying.
Okay.
okay, let's start with new business. Anything new on the farm building tax exemption?
No, am I going to marry myself, or am I going with you, or how are we working?
However you would like to do that.
Okay, I can go to marrying myself.
Okay,
That's, I didn't know, I was, this meeting was so close, I didn't do anything between when I found out that you went to Mark, right? And
I
that's,
went to Mark Walter
yes,
and I explained to him what we're doing.
yeah,
And that we're gathering data to make a future presentation to the Board of Selectmen. And so I asked permission for us to work with me. And he said, yes. He said, good idea.
I had just gotten an email from Joan Nichols saying that Colebrook just passed the exemption with a $50,000 limit to it. Instead of 100.
any reason why 50 and not 100? I'm just curious, if
I
there's
think
some
so,
big
figure.
business, yeah, that's, okay,
Whatever the town wanted to do.
yeah, all right.
This, when we were at the presentation, she was saying that sometimes that makes it a sweet spot where her hits the grand list less.
But I don't know Colebrook very well, but I don't know, I mean, you know, like where the big farm businesses are, that, obviously, there's no reason why Columbia wouldn't go for $100,000. Nobody, I mean, they wouldn't be giving a big enough break to anybody, really, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go to Mary and start working with her.
Good.
As far as Walt Tabor's comment about other farms, do you want me to continue to reach out to other people who I think might qualify, or let them come to us? I don't know how.
Well, I mean, I think Mary's, can I answer?
Yeah, please.
So I think Mary's data on is gonna tell us who
Oh, yeah.
potentially qualify.
Okay, so who files the Schedule F and who files the
Yeah.
equipment exemption?
And then we would use that data to decide, to
Okay.
present to the selectmen, and that still doesn't mean that those farmers would take advantage of it if it was available.
Right,
And it doesn't mean that others wouldn't, once they find out it's available, want also, but that would be, that's what I would do, is just work with her data, because that's all we know is real.
Right.
Mhm.
okay,
And I know that Doug Robinson talked to Jimmy Cobb, but he didn't get it, so he didn't come. He didn't understand.
oh,
And so that I think there are people out there
yeah.
who may wish to, once we get this
Mhm.
solidified.
Okay,
So that would be a time to reach out, I think,
okay,
when we find out what we've got. Because I know that Jim Cobb files as a farm.
oh, he does, I didn't realize that.
He does, his insurance is as a farm.
Huh, okay,
And so
okay.
I don't, imagine he makes enough money,
I don't imagine
but
either.
I don't know,
Okay,
not for me to judge.
okay. And then, so I will try to do this at the earliest, but it'd be helpful if I had deadlines for myself because,
Needs to be done by June 1st.
really? Okay, well, no, I mean, I want, do we have a timeline that we want? I mean, at one point, Tom was talking about trying to sync this up with the Zegda Farm,
15-year
yes,
anniversary.
yes, I don't know, we're probably unlikely to get this pushed through before October 30th or November 1st of this year.
As far as our presentation to the Board of Selectmen,
Well,
It's
it would be
possible,
okay,
it's possible, but here's the real deadline.
yeah,
The selectmen only entertain new ideas for about 5 months of the year,
okay,
okay? They can think of nothing until the budget passes. Then they kind of wait, oh, we can't start anything until July 1. December 1st, they shut down
okay,
completely.
okay,
And the holidays, and then they are shut down through March doing budget. So if you want them to actually start something new,
yeah,
your hard deadline is December 1st to have it done.
okay,
So the sooner we present it, the better,
that's fine, I just try and,
but the more complete
yes,
it is, because here's the other thing I learned. They don't do any work. If we want this committee has to do the work.
okay,
So I'm counting on you to talk to Mary.
Mhm.
Then I'm counting on everyone to pull it together and sell it to the list of farmers that you will get from there.
yeah, all right,
And that might involve visitation, chit chat,
okay,
phone call, stuff like that,
okay,
which we will help with,
okay,
so you won't be on the phone.
Yeah.
all the time. But one person should work with me.
that's fine, I have no problem doing that since I started, since she came to me to ask me about this a long time ago, so, all right, okay. Okay, that helps, so,
And if you've got something at the beginning of June, see, we meet every other month. We can always have a special meeting.
okay,
Pull it together.
okay, all right,
Good,
yep, I'm good, thank you.
okay. All right, right farm signs.
I've got all kinds of information. So, I don't know if it's any relation, Mike, Leslie Curtis from Colchester? No, okay. So Colchester Land Trust was the ones that put together the signs for Colchester, the right to farms. So I went out to their website and said, you know, from Columbia, I'm on the Conservation Commission, we're trying to do the same thing for Columbia. You know, could you put me in touch with somebody, explain what you did? And like an hour later, I got an email from somebody and they said, I'll have somebody call you tonight and blah, blah. So it ended up being their vice president, Leslie Curtis. And she's been involved with the land trust for forever. And she explained how they went through the whole process and that because they're a land trust and a nonprofit, they had money available that they could use as seed to purchase the signs and whatever. And so they started off with, they had a graphic artist who now is in Salem, which she put me in touch with, who I talked with, that they designed the sign. So that's their sign. And talking to him, he said, it would be very easy to change Colchester to Columbia if we wanted to use the exact same sign. I said, I don't know why we wouldn't, but that's me. And then she also put me in touch with the company that manufactures the sign for them down in Norwich. So I reached out to them and told them what I was interested in to get pricing for various sizes and
What's the name of the sign place in, you know the name of the sign place in Norwich?
sign professionals or something like that. I can get, I can.
No, it's all right.
I think that's what it is. But anyway, she said they went through and they have two different sizes they use. And it was basically the biggest sign that they could put on just a single post was what they went with. And they started off with posting signs just on private property on the town, they went through whatever, to make sure the signs complied with whatever the town rules were. So first was on farmers' private property. Then they got approval to put it on town roads. And because they were paying for the sign, DPW or whatever there is, Public Works was fine with doing the labor to install them. And then they got approval to put them on the state road, but she said basically state rules are, it's only at the town lines you can post signs. But I don't know that that's true or not, but that was what she said. So, but I have most of that information I can share with everybody. Because I was waiting for a quote back from the Norwich guy there.
Good. We might, Lisa Napolitano is a selectman, and she and her husband, I believe, have a sign company. And Lisa's all about farms.
She goes to our church, right? Yes,
She's a-
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we might approach Lisa and she might be benevolent.
Basically, the costs were somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 per sign for the sign, just the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not very close.
Yeah, and I think
And the
she,
signs are metal.
yeah. I believe aluminum, they're. I didn't bring it with me for whatever reason, but I had, it was like 24 by 18, 24 by 30. There was some magic numbers that they used to get the maximum on the different locations.
Mhm.
And it would still be on just a single post.
Kind of like a T-post or like a?
Just like a stop sign, just a.
Okay, yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah, the graphic artist, he said, yeah, like $75, he would just change it for us.
I'm actually not in favor of using a replica of the Colchester signs, because it has like some very standard graphic.
Yeah, it's like a silo that nobody uses
silo
anymore.
or a barn, that's like clip art, you
Yes.
know? And I don't think that's necessary. Text only, make it very simple, very clear. We don't need to illustrate what a farm looks like. People know what farms look like. And not every farm has a red barn or a silo, you know, so
I,
let's make it all encompassing and just, that would.
yeah, so we can figure that out at a later date if we do it, but mine is, I like the sign, because to me, it's marketing to non-farmers. That's what you're trying to, I would like to see the signs put up prior to us trying to push through the farm tax exemption thing. That way the residents.
Great. And if you're going through town, you can't read it, but you recognize, oh, a red barn is settled and farm.
So
That's
early last year, we created the Friends of Mono Pond nonprofit. And we went through a bunch of meetings there as to what we wanted for our logo and stuff. And so we ended up with like a bear paddling a canoe with pine tree. So it's really, it looks really nice, but it doesn't look anything like Mono Pond. So I would rather, I would like to have something that's a picture. And having a statement.
the hours that we spent choosing, creating and choosing that logo is ridiculous.
I mean, I was kind of like, they established like a standard, and then if every other town follows the same standard, then people would recognize that that's. It's kind of,
And that's the discussion now.
Yeah, right.
but anyway, it's a reasonable, and I had talked to Mark Walter, and I had talked to Mark Walter and Beth, and they said that there's no reason why they couldn't pursue that for us.
Right. Very good.
With regard, wait. Who?
The town administrator, and public
Yeah.
works director
Yeah.
could work with us to whatever the rules are with the
Oh, okay,
state, or,
okay. I see.
so we know.
I see.
So if I go and order a bunch of signs and then the state says, no, you can't post them, and they're wrong, and whoever is zoning says, no, you can't, you
Yeah,
can't do that.
Okay,
and the town's been working with DOT on other things, so they've sort of got somebody's team,
Mhm.
so that's helpful. Okay, good work, Tom. All right, I move that, we purchase a membership in Connecticut Farm Bureau for the town, for this commission.
Yep.
Is there a second?
second,
Any discussion?
I mean, this is a good idea.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Joan's very helpful, in a lot
Yes.
of ways, and we're very happy to take any sort of membership they can.
Yeah.
Drum up.
Should it be our commission? Or should it be the town of Columbia?
How do you do the Salmon
Can
River?
you speak for the town? Or can you speak for the commission?
Well, we can speak for the commission and we have money in our budget.
that's my next question, where's the money coming from? If the money's coming from our budget, then it should be through us, I guess.
I think the commission's appropriate.
How do we do the Salmon River watershed membership?
That is the town.
We could start off with us just doing it with our budget and.
Yep.
And it was, Friends, was the one at the membership level I had suggested,
Yeah, it's friends of
it was like
ours.
$70.
Yeah.
Essentially just a charitable donation, basically, which is what it is.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Yes.
All in favor?
Like,
Opposed? So moved. All right. Let's see, I guess I better take care. I have to get the money. I have to pry the money out of it. Okay. Tell us about the bottlenecks, Mike, would you?
You want to hear about digesters first, or you want to hear about bottlings?
Oh, either one.
Okay.
Go
No, I'm Mike Curtis.
I'm Jason Rico.
Pleasure to meet
Nice to meet you.
I lived in town, there were dinosaurs floating around, like, when I moved here, you know, get a kick on the side,
ahead.
yeah. So,
We used to live over by Rec Park.
I still live over at Rec Park, less and less, but I'm there. I'm up in the lot, so, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I used to run a large engineering construction company called Fuss O'Neill out of Manchester, Connecticut. And, we had a mutual partner in ways about 12 years ago. And, had a good run, it was great, 26 years, and have gone on to a whole bunch of different things, but, come back to my roots in chemical engineering process. And am working extensively with large dairy farms and poultry farms in dealing with a large pollution problem in the manure world. I build anaerobic digesters. I built several smaller ones, and I got the biggest one east of the Mississippi coming up in Franklin, Connecticut in the next year.
Where in Franklin?
Cushman,
Okay, I was curious about,
yeah.
I grew up in Franklin, that's how I
Cushman.
asked.
We are, that specific project is probably gonna come in at close to $100 million. It is taking the waste from 4,200 cows, possibly more, but 4,200 at the moment, and 4.3 million chickens. And is producing
From which,
No,
from which?
not
Hillendale?
all of it,
All of
all of it.
it.
Is it gonna go on Cushman's land?
Hell no.
Where is it going?
Heck no, excuse me.
That's all right.
Where is
I
it
was,
going?
where is it going?
The materials on the far end of the digester, I mean, what this thing does is heats this manure up in the absence of oxygen
Yeah,
with a lot of heat, and a lot of microbiology. Produces a biogas, which is nominally 2/3 methane, 1/3 CO2, and point something percent yakima. Sulfur, water, blah, 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 you know, oxygen, a little bit of oxygen. You refine that gas, eject the CO2, and we are producing a renewable natural gas project that is going to, you know, produce enough gas to fire about 12,000 homes on a 24/7, 365 basis. It's a big project, not utility scale, but for agriculture, it's a big project, okay? You know, I'm a political animal at some level, and, you know, we certainly have talked to a whole bunch of politicians, all the way up to the governor on this thing, and, you know, he's tracking it, and I'm tracking it, and, you know, it's a thrill of it. Bottom line in this project, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not easy. And I have projects going on before other states. Not that size, but about 2/3, 1/2 that size, you know, things are interesting. It's an interesting life. I'm also a very serious birder. Like, fanatic. Not maybe not fanatic, but, you know, because I don't have the time,
Fanatic.
but I know my stuff, okay? Not state class, not national class, but certainly the best birder in town, okay? I know, I have 2 or 3 more birders in town, and I'm the best birder in town, okay? Right? So I participated in something called the Connecticut Breeding Bird Survey. And that was a 4-year event, extended 1 year because of COVID. And I had 4 quads, all of which, you know, comprise the USGS quad, you know, and one of them encompassed the Zigda land, conservation land. And I was down there, the year of COVID, you know, that year, you know, in March, so it was June, I was down there by myself. Pulled 5 or 6 ticks off me at the end of time, got Lyme disease right in there somewhere. I've had it 3 times. And when I was down there were 10 or 12 male bobolinks nesting or beginning to nest in that, what acreage is it?
The plains, well,
Yeah.
it's
Close to 20.
Close to 20 acre field, yes, okay. Bobolinks are not endangered, but certainly state threatened. A lot of people are paying a lot of attention to them in the Northeast because the grasslands being what they are, they're going away. And they're, you know, this is a pretty unique sighting. People got excited about it. I let Chris Elphick know up at UConn that this had occurred, and he immediately turned me onto a program which I introduced Ann to. We met hiking in the woods.
yes, we were both at the viewing spot at the swamp.
At Utley, right,
He
Yeah.
knew what he was looking at.
yeah, you know, and so I told her about this, and I said, well, you know, there's a program, I think it's called the Bobbling Project, I know it's called the Bobbling Project, where you put land into the queue, and people basically buy the first cutting from that in order to have it not cut until the end of July. And there you go, right there, perfect. And, you know, you put land into it, UConn is one of the partners in this thing, which makes it a Connecticut thing as well. And I just said, you know, this is an ideal site for what this group is trying to accomplish. There's all kinds of altruistic people, of which I could easily be one, that would buy not the development rights, but the first cutting rights of a field such as this, such that bobolink can nest there. They're a threatened species. They're cool. You know, they probably got a picture somewhere in here of a bobolink. You can see the green background one there, but you know, and the project works. I think they've got 3,000 or 4,000 acres, you know, preserved. And there you go. you know, in the Northeast, it's a Northeast US project. And so I said, told Dan, I said, I come here and talk about that. You know, you have ownership too. And I don't know the legal specifics, you know, a 20-acre meadow that is obviously pretty keen habitat, diminishing habitat for a threatened species of bird. And it's not the end of the world if you don't want to participate, but if you did, I'd be more than willing to do the legwork to put it together. You know, and, you know, we spoke to
Ronnie,
Ron,
Ron said,
yeah, who was in tune with the project. You know, he told me some things I didn't know. I mean, I work with probably about 40,000 dairy cows at this point in various projects, but there's things I don't, there's a whole bunch I don't know. One of which is the value of the food product from the hay harvest, you know, at the end of the season, it's not so good. You know, it's basically, you know, it's not food quality anymore. So what that means to him is a subject of discussion. I don't know the absolute answer, but he was willing to at least talk about it. He didn't say hell no. About, you know, preserving the first cut there and haying it after the nesting species this season, excuse me, which is nominally July 30. You know,
Which is July.
July 30 plus or minus. You know, when things have left their nest.
Was that with, Ronnie's been cutting that, right? Or he had been cutting it, right?
Right now, it's in good shape.
I'm curious as to, so there have been wetter years and drier years, and in wetter years, it takes longer to get on to the hay lots, and so do those birds, do they show up? Like I was
I've
just
seen them
curious.
there 2 consecutive years, COVID one and the year following, I saw them there.
Okay,
And then the fields got cut and they went away. And that's just the way, I'm no value judgment at all, you know? Whether they're back this year, will be back this year, I have no clue, right? We talked to Ron about cutting early and then having me go down there and see where things are at. You know, whether they come back, if he cuts before the 10th, the birds aren't here yet. You know,
10th of this month?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't, you know, we'll see how it all works.
yeah,
No guarantees on this year. I think the goal would be, you know, if you're interested and he's interested, you know, in possibly putting something together and getting this project and this site into this thing here for next year.
So the town-owned Zegna Farm is managed by the Zegna Farm Committee, which is not the Conservation Committee.
right?
And
John
But
Hopkins-
luckily, I have to be the chairman of that committee.
Well, there you go.
And we actually just had our meeting at 6 o'clock tonight
Okay,
for Zegna Farm, and this one started at 7, so it would have been great.
it would have been great if this was at 5.
If I had heard this 6 hours earlier. So it's like, my first thought is, you know, maybe, you know.
Maybe, it's a big baby, exactly.
One of the things is we want to make, the whole reason for having that was to maintain some of the property and agriculture.
Mhm.
And if we're making an effort to not do the cutting,
First cutting.
I'm just saying, I would have to understand from a farm, like another hay farmer or whatever, say, what does that do to the quality of the hay? If we did this multiple years in a row, does the hay is that better or worse if it's not cut? If you can cut it once before May 15th and then cut it July 30th or whatever those, I mean, I would want to know more before I'd say, yes, I'm fully.
Oh, absolutely. No, this is just an intro.
Yeah, no,
Okay, yeah, and there's no Band-Aid or anything like that. You have to know, you have to get all the facts. Yeah,
now there's another smaller hay field up in back, up over the hill there. I don't know if you've been up in there.
oh, sure.
So is there any bottlenecks up there at all?
There were none that I've ever seen.
So it was just down the.
They do have a relatively rare bird, they're nesting in that little, that oval shape.
Yep.
You know, it's called the white-eyed vireo, but we'll leave all that alone. You know, it's a very uncommon bird for up here. I've seen it 5 years straight there. But I've seen none nesting there, to answer your question. Yeah. Big open plots. If you go through this, you look at the kind of, the plots they're looking for, and then this just fits the model of, you know, having that, you know,
if you look at the front part of the border Zegna Road, between the two parking lots,
Mhm.
that hilly area.
Sure,
Right now, I'm mowing that to make it look like a golf course rather than a hayfield. I mean, if that was something where that area could be,
Yeah, I'd lay back on that, because that's got other things nesting in it that are pretty cool as well, things like indigo buntings and, you know.
no, but if you pay me not to mow it, is what I'm saying, you can, if you're gonna pay Ronnie not to mow, you should pay me not to mow.
Well, he's losing a cash crop, I don't think you are. Yeah, yeah,
You just get a break.
yeah,
I used to work on a vegetable farm that had some bobolinks on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, cool bird, for sure.
yeah, they're threatened in state. They're not endangered in the world, but they're certainly, you know, they're 40 and 50% of historic populations in the east. You know, just because of habitat destruction.
Mhm.
Have you heard from Ron at all?
No, I don't know how to reach him, quite honestly. We did
I
trade,
think we gave your phone number. Yeah.
you'll have to give it to me again.
I would also like to consider what happens if it is in time, it's no longer hay, if there's another type of agriculture that's in it, is it
Like grazing.
like livestock or vegetable production or berries, no matter whatever, who knows what can happen in 20, 50 years, you know?
See the
It's not gonna be hay for.
20 acres and the
perpetuity.
size of contiguous land, et cetera, you know, the shape, if you go down, right there, a little bit further down, what they like and what they don't like, we fit the good in every aspect. You know,
So how do bottlenecks work in relation to other types of agriculture besides hay?
I think they like grasslands that are generally uncut until after breeding season.
Mhm.
And then you definitely want to cut them in the northeast because they'll turn into shrubs. They
Yeah,
just
they'll
get overwhelmed.
They'll
with
turn into
rows or
watermelon living about.
Yeah, 5 years after that, it won't be that, you know?
The other question I had for Andy before you came
Share the contact.
was so right now, the way the agreement is with the town is that Ron has life use of that field, kind of as if he had a lease on it. At some point, he's no longer gonna be able to farm it, and we would then be creating a lease, hopefully with some other farmer to keep it in agriculture. Would potentially, we can make the lease agreement in such a way that the town receive that income rather than the farmer. Is it just?
Yeah.
Frank, that's just,
Not a bad idea, not a bad idea.
no, I don't know, I'm just saying, it just seems weird for me to have town land and pay a farmer not to farm. And the money not come, they could pay me not to farm that land.
Yeah, the intricacies, you make a good point.
I'm not against it at all, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
no, I hear you.
Because that'll be the next question, why is Ronnie getting the money? You know, well, he's getting the money because he would have cut the cash crop, that was his crop to cut, and
Yeah. So that's what I'm bringing. If you're interested, we can do more legwork on
I'd like to know more.
it. Yeah, you know. Get some more facts on it and get, what the value of it. I know, a very, very good friend. I was meeting with him from 2 to 5 today, Jim Smith down at Cushman Farm. I've already asked him about, what's the food quality if you bypass the cutting, and I'll get that data, you know.
How small of a parcel? 5 acres or has to be?
I think their minimum is about 10. You know, I think they like contiguous 10 acres of land, kind of thing.
Are there any bottlenecks at Cushman's?
No.
No, it's all
No.
corn.
Too much.
It's all corn.
There's a lot of reasons why there aren't any there. None of them are good.
You were talking about High Tone Farm, I think, also earlier.
Yeah,
So over in that general area, there's a nonprofit I'm involved with, we have like 10 acres, but maybe 5 acres that we can
really.
create a living community
In-
right next to Edmondson's. Edmonds.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Right, in between Edmonds and the funeral home.
Mhm.
So that for some reason had bottlenecks. You could pay me not to know that too.
Yeah, right across from Hightown, they had bottlenecks, and they cut, you know, it's not the end of the world, you know, one way or the other, but it's just, you know, it's an opportunity for the town, that's all, you know? And the bird's cool, like you said, you know,
Mhm,
it's a pretty unique thing to have in town.
mhm.
On a sideline, I've got more birding records in the town of Columbia than any of you know about. It's just, you know, I don't know what you would ever do with them, but you know, there's some neat things that happen in town, particularly around the lake. You know, as in rare species show up. The lake is very, very much of a fall migrant trap as it relates to things coming from the Arctic and moving to the ocean, you know.
What about the Canada geese?
I would whack them with a big hammer.
The Canada geese?
Yes.
People on the lake,
The ones on the lake.
yeah.
Yeah, I just, you know, I mean, they're a good protein source in my opinion, okay?
We have a nesting pair on our phone.
Well, you're welcome to them, quite honestly. I mean, I go down to that dock every day.
Yeah.
Just, you know, make banh mi sandwiches out of them. I mean, you know, like, yeah.
There's a program, you know.
Yes, there are.
Got a problem, you know, that they can round them up
Yeah.
and take them to a sewage.
Yeah, I think you've got a problem with geese down there, quite honestly, you know?
But here's another problem, and I just wanted to look up these swamp beavers and geese. That's on the agenda. So I've been tuning in with I'm a member of the Columbia Lake Association. And I've been tuning in on the Lake Management Advisory Committee. And all they can talk about is the geese. And so they developed a plan to deal with the goose problem. And they pulled short of doing the roundup and came up with, see, the lake people have these lush lawns and geese, that's what geese eat. And so then they have all these droppings and they're not going to be used. And so, you know, we came up with a plan where you have bells and whistles and fences and stuff like that. And I said, well, this place doesn't have a problem with geese and this one does. What's the difference? This one has a beautiful lawn, and this one has native plants, trees, and so I encourage them to do something with their landscaping to discourage the geese. That's my part in it. But here's the other one that came up with adding the egg, so putting them in water. And you put them back in the nest. And of course, they won't hatch, but mama sits there and doesn't produce more. If you smash the eggs, she lays more. But if you boil them, so they won't hatch. And okay, here's my issue with that. They want to, first of all, somebody put a kayak in the ugly swamp to go scout them out. And there's never been a boat out there. And I was wrecked because, and now they've decided, oh, you can't get to the geese by kayak because they're smart enough. So now they're going to take their big feet and go dropping in to find the nests. And most of them are over the area.
Yeah,
And so I'm I'm so sad because they're gonna spoil the whole habitat.
Just gotta find other places to, like, all those geese that show up on Jim and Karen's land,
Yeah,
there's like, I don't know, 10 nesting pairs there now. There was just one nesting pair like 3 years ago.
well, yeah, there's a million.
So
of
you'll
them.
just find, I don't understand, like,
There aren't that many geese up on Ugly Swan. Far less than the lake. Okay,
But do they nest
I'm sure they nest there. Yeah,
on the lake?
on the lake, I believe they nest on the lake. Sure, I've seen goslings there, yeah. Some protected area, and I doubt they commute from the swamp to the lake, because for a certain part of that year, they're flightless. You know, they're molting, and, you know, so it's, you know, they're just simply recycling nutrients that people are putting on their lawns anyway. You know, and, yeah, your point of natural landscaping is absolutely on point. You know, and it's just like, they're just all the droppings on the town dock, which is, you know, hey, you know, I mean, it's just, all they're doing is taking nutrients and carbon from other places, and that's what you see, you know? They're not importing it, and they're certainly not exporting it either, you know? So, my personal opinion.
So who granted permission for people to mess with the geese, with the DEP?
I'm sure
Was
that's,
there a permit or something, or who in the town gave permit? I mean, it's like, it sounds like,
Okay, Joshua's Trust owns part of that.
Yeah.
And I'm still,
I know,
so I said, Joshua's Trust will not, it's a nature preserve and you may not enter there, but the town owns a bit of property on the swamp.
right, but what sort of a permit? I mean, you have to, if you want to go bow hunting on town land, you have to apply and be approved. If you're gonna hunt for eggs or geese or whatever on town land,
I know if you're gonna hunt and if you're gonna round them up, I don't know about
I
that.
can't imagine that that would be legally permitted by the board of
there's some
selectmen.
nuisance animal permit that you can get, but I don't know that
It
they
doesn't
do.
mean people aren't just doing it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, if they're saying in a meeting that they're planning to do this, then it should be brought to the board of selectmen's attention that they're,
Talk is cheap.
yeah.
Well, I'd like to see what I gotta do. You know, I mean, the beavers have raised that level by about 6 inches in the last year. And, you know, it's like, get out of that boat, go play with the nest. I doubt it. I wouldn't do it. Anyway, I'll do some more research, get back to you. One of my costs. You sent that contact to me, I'll reach.
Yeah, and and they brought in Min Wong, do you know?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
At first he really kind of laughed at me. He said, you don't have a problem. But now he's kind of come around to say, yeah, you got a problem.
Yeah,
So I'm predicting that next year they'll be around.
Yeah.
So,
on the left.
yeah.
We deal with the problem where it exists, you know?
But it wouldn't be on town property, it would be on different private property,
No,
private owners.
it would, with their permission, but it would be on town property.
At the lake, would they be doing,
Oh, yeah,
I mean, the town property is really just the beach,
and the dike.
but that's not where the nest, we think the nesting might be other places, so.
But the town, you have to get a deep permit to do a round. Then you hire.
Right, so I'm just, that's what I asked in the beginning was, you can't just go
Right,
and take geese eggs and,
Great, geese.
Yeah.
so.
but, yeah.
And this would be funded by private citizens, or this would be a part of lake management's budget?
I know all the taxpayers.
Okay,
We're all in this together. That's why I think we certainly should have a tax exemption for farmers if you can spend money on killing bees. Sorry. Okay, the other issue is somebody, and this is not really clear. I was sent, let me start. I was sent a copy of a deed permit to allow trapping of beavers on the off-lease farm. And they had diagrams and photographs and where they were going to do this. And they were gonna breach the small dam at the head of the stream, which is already breached, and trap a beaver there. And I'm going, this does not make sense. But the trapper rationalized it that if he puts the trap by the breach dam, beaver will come and repair it. But there aren't any beavers on the north side of Route 66. There are no shoe marks. The dams are not maintained. The lodges are not maintained. All the beaver activity is on the south side of 66. So why are they trapping the beaver there? So I said, you know, what's up here? And so that started a string of questions. And then they cut me out of the loop. And I'm not really clear on what they're doing and why. But they said in the application, it said Lake Road might flood. Lake Road isn't going to flood. And what's really the issue is 66 might flood. So there you go.
So was it DEP wanted a trapper to do work for them on Joshua's Trust or town land?
Yeah.
So where the beaver dam is that town land or Joshua's Trust?
It depends on which one you're talking about.
What, where the one they were gonna
at the
breach?
head of at the head of the stream that it is breached is actually on town ground. And the big one, the one that really owns that water, is on Joshua Trust.
The problem child is on the south side of 66.
Right, and that's on a private landowner. More to follow.
But if it was on Joshua's Trust land, Joshua's Trust would have to get permission.
Joshua's Trust would probably say no. Yeah, or they would have to get permission from Joshua's Trust. So let's see what happens. Okay. We're gonna table light pollution because that was Chris's thing. Chris and his wife Kathy. I believe this was, I printed this off a town newsletter about lights interfering with migrating bird patterns. So I'm taking, you know a lot about that too.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it an expertise. Yeah, I know that birds hit buildings a lot. Get blinded by light, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly during migration, yes. It's more of a New York City phenomenon versus a gas station phenomenon. Yeah.
Anyway. So I thought we'll discuss that next time. Okay, trail crew, Tom, have you gathered a trail crew?
I have not.
You have not. But when you do, I have a project. I'm
Is-
telling
That was one that Andy was gonna get in touch with me, Andy Woodcock, or somebody else was gonna get, or different one, okay?
you,
Okay.
different water bars. And actually, I had Andy Woodcock from Joshua's Trust brought a crew out, and I taught them to make water bars. And then Andy turns to me in the middle of this thing, and he says, "You got to tell the Columbia doing that." And I go, because and I steward all of it, of the rec park part, and it's not, I just think it's all Joshua's Trust. And actually, so anyway, he said, "Oh, well," but now the water bars need replacing, you know, they rot and we need them replaced every 5-6 years, and it's fine. So, if you ever get a trail crew together, I've got that project. Otherwise, I'll chip away at them myself. Okay.
Like, actually, I kind of do have, I told you Glenn Ritchie?
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of trail work for, because I didn't have the time. So he's been working at Sector Farm and over at Model Pond.
Is he having a good time?
Yep.
I'll say no.
So we're a crew of 2 at this point, I think.
Yeah.
There's a guy doing trail work around Rec Park now. Just coming in and mostly taking care of plantings that have been put in 4 years ago. And he's doing a really good job. He just shows up and says, "Ah, this is something I want to do." I don't know his name. And you walk up there, you find the guy, mostly around the daffodils. And, it's just like.
Is this on the walking trail?
Yes,
Yes.
it's exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know when it was, boy, he'd be good, he's retired, I'm sure. It's just, he can bend over, which I cannot do. And yeah.
Okay. I have Rec Park on my list. Apparently there, I read in the town newsletter that they're actually putting in a tennis court,
Oh, there,
a new one.
they ripped out the old tennis court and they're putting in an expanded one, which will include, if they turn them sideways, 2 pickleball events.
One tennis court they're putting in.
I think they're replacing the tennis court, they're expanding it such that 2 perpendicular pickleball courts can go in, so they're widening it and whatever they're doing.
I'll have to go look at that.
It's done, it's in place.
Yeah.
The foundation's there right now, so don't wait, because it'll be,
Yeah.
it'll be done before you know. Yeah,
Well, that's okay, I can't stop it, but I've been jumping up and down for actually 2 generations of my family have been trying to get that tennis court fixed, refurbished, replaced, because of the Grand Canyon that's been in it from day one. And I digress. Okay. Stuart reports.
I don't know, so
Just tell me everything's wonderful.
everything's wonderful.
Good.
So with Middlebrook, Model Pond State Park, both at the same time. Yesterday, Mark Walter and Beth Lunt met with me and the neighbors on Wellswood Road there by the root cellar, because we had gotten approval from the Board of Selectmen to put a gate up. And we looked at a bunch of different spots, and what we came up with at the end of that meeting was put some more signs at the top of the hill saying, road closed, dead end, don't go any further, whatever we need. And then at the bottom of the hill where the schoolhouse lot is.
Yep.
To actually put 2 gates there. put one, so you can't get to the corner to take the right at the schoolhouse, and then just beyond that. So if you were coming in from Kinney Road towards that way, it would be blocked there. And then we figured out a location where if somebody did come in with vehicles, there'd be enough room to turn around without doing any earth moving and anything there. So the gates would be there, and somebody comes in from one direction or the other, they're stopped at the gate, they turn around and they go back out. The other thing, after we got done with that meeting, Mark and Beth, we went over to the Hebron's side of Wellswood Road. And I walked up in there with them, showing them where all the tires and trash and stuff had been dumped and what I saw as a problem. And they agreed that they would talk to the landowner that owns lands on both sides there. I believe it's Jake's.
Mhm.
And if he's okay with it, we would put some sort of a gate there also, right as the pavement ends. Because there's enough rock walls and stuff there that, and that's really where the majority of the ATVs and trucks are coming in. So we'll see what happens, but that was our field trip yesterday.
I hope that when they're talking to the other body, this property,
Yeah. And it's so, which they, because you have to drive so far around on paved road. I was showing them that with one of the apps I have on my phone, that the gates would really only be a mile apart. Even though you have to drive 5 miles around on paved road to get there, and it's less than a half a mile, I think a quarter of a mile to where the state land is now.
Mhm.
So I think they better appreciate what we're seeing out there and ways to solve the problem, so.
Good.
As I mentioned for Mono Pond, Glenn's been doing, there was some trees down on the boat launch side trails. He's gonna work on, we cleaned them up a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple more down, so he said he'd take care of that over the next week or two, so.
Good. Good, yeah. Okay, is that farm trails good?
Yeah, and that was another thing was he and I worked, we have a connector trail now between the upper trail and the small hayfield.
Yeah.
So now you can do kind of a bigger loop with them. And so he had just finished that up in the past month. And he's actually gonna be looking, you know, gonna be looking at doing another extension of the upper trail further to the proper, closer to the property line further up there. Make it more interesting.
Good. Very good. What color is that trail now?
I don't remember.
It's not purple, is it?
No, I don't, the new one, I don't know, I honestly, I was just there like a week ago and I don't remember. Red, how about that, I don't know, like a
I
brown,
think red's on the pole barn side.
Not that there's a requirement, but has there been ever any thought of putting a tick sign there?
no, even enough ticks as there is.
Well, not exactly, not like tick crossing, but it's exactly what it is. It's the worst.
Oh, I know it.
It is the worst, you know?
Yep. I was just thinking about the ticks, as I said, I was thinking, I'll have to go see that trail, but I don't think I'll go until January.
Well, the other thing with Zegna Farm, there's still 3 plots open in the community garden, so if you know anybody that wants, they have a couple of new people came in and a couple of old people left, so that, and the other thing is, with all this torrential rains, they've had a lot of problem with the runoff coming down the hill and into the garden, so we're gonna explore with Beth any ways to divert it, so.
Okay. All right, Hop River Mills, I met with, well, I dropped in, Deb Fisk, our recreation director, and suggested a couple of ideas for the Hop River Mill recreation and to the property, like a fishing derby or a picnic table, like that. The archaeological historical end of that property is looking pretty good.
Just stopped down there, yeah, yesterday. Talis put the little the road in now.
Yeah.
And
You have a question, how much land does the town own on that?
On Cod River,
Yeah,
5 acres,
I was gonna say 4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5,
okay.
but fishermen,
No, I've been down there a lot too.
I've seen.
I do a lot of birding on the rail trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did ask Mark to add me officially as a member of that committee.
Good.
So whatever the board of selectmen meeting.
Yes, I put you on my email. Okay, agriculture report, is there anything to report?
I don't.
I mean, in my neck of the woods, we are on the list of stopped for historical societies, garden, good tour this year, and they are coordinating with an on plein air group of painters who came to the farm last Friday. Led by one of my CSA members, as it turns out. And so there were all these women, these easels, starting to do sketches and photographs and starting to paint a scene at the farm that they'll finish at their studio and then kind of come back to that event and that'll be sort of stage. That's cool. I have an open house at the farm. One was yesterday, another Saturday. And it's great. A lot of folks came yesterday. Thank you for sharing that announcement. I helpful.
Broadcast that. I did that with the commission, and they said,
Right.
time is short, and she said, open the house.
Yeah. Open house.
And we actually got a selectman to show up.
Yes.
I invited the economic committee.
Oh, okay. Maybe they'll come on Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, all those seasons slowly underway, right, Jason?
Slowly, very slowly now,
Yeah, vegetable season.
cold and wet.
My peas came up.
Oh, good. That is great.
I planted 10 peas. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's a slow start, but yeah. We're doing a plant sale next weekend.
And Jason, have you thought of being part of the garden too?
I was part of the garden tour on the first year that, who was it, Millie? Yep.
Yeah.
Had it, and I think she never contacted me again after that, and I think, well, I was told that they were rotating through different farms, so she never did contact me again.
You'll probably be up.
I'm sure I will,
another
it
year or
doesn't,
two.
yeah,
They'll come back.
it's fine, yeah, either
I
way,
just thought it's good
yeah,
advertising.
it is good advertising, it's good.
Did you get any new customers from that?
From that, no. But I wasn't taking any new customers either at the time, so it's a little, yeah.
Are you at capacity?
I mean, one more share to sell, and that's it.
Oh, no, we've plenty more space.
Any other business?
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're tracking, I've had 12 new species of birds show up in the last 2 days. Spring migrants.
Really?
Yeah, I've been out every morning for 2 hours.
Out, when you say I've been out,
Well, I did Utley from 6:30 to 8:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I walked down Zigda, or Domi and all that, down Lake Road and whatnot. Yeah. spring, that's what I'm saying. But warm weather should be even better.
The eagle, the nesting eagles have a eaglet.
Mhm,
Have you seen?
I have. So this morning, or, no, yeah, 2 mornings ago, yes,
Can someone share with me where the nest is? Because I hear so much about it, but I don't
Okay,
know.
You will be unimpressed.
Really?
bring binoculars, you'll be impressed.
Yeah, it's
Okay, what-
huge.
Sleepy Hollow Road,
it's on Sleepy Hollow.
yeah.
But it's like in somebody's front yard. It's
If you go on 87 to Lake, you know where Sleepy Hollow is?
No.
You take Lake, probably, it's not quite 2 miles, it's maybe 1.75 miles. There's like a neighborhood that's got 3 roads. The Sleepy Hollow is the last road, it's on the right if you're heading past the lake.
Okay.
And you turn down there and it's, I don't know, what is it?
100 yards on
100
the
yards,
left-hand
and
side,
yeah,
yeah.
it's in the crotch of a tree and it's kind of, it looks, I don't know, trapezoidal. I mean, it's huge, it's enormous,
Oh,
really.
wow.
It's only like 30 or 40 feet off the ground. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not.
A lot of times, both animals are there, both birds are there, the male will be sitting up or whatever, and more times than not, though, the female will simply, if you got binoculars, you see a white head sticking out of the nest.
And, because I just see the photographs of it on like the Columbia Facebook page, and people are like, well, it's on private property, so don't go. Or
No,
you
don't.
can't, so I like, can I park somewhere? and
Yeah, you can,
walk?
that street is like a side street, you're not gonna, if you see another car there in 20 minutes, you'd probably be shocked.
You can tell the right spot, is like a perpendicular pull off on the left-hand side where 2 cars typically park. It's not a driveway, it's just simply a
Yeah.
gravel pull off, and they park perpendicular to the road.
It's like number 5.
Yeah,
They come and take corn stalks out of my field every year
there you go.
for the nest.
They do?
Yeah,
And
No kidding.
yeah, every year.
And
Wow.
they gather up, like, dry grass.
Dry leaves, and they're like in the field. I mean, I've been within 50 yards of it.
Oh my
It's
Yeah.
enormous.
it's big, yeah.
It's huge.
And
Yeah, I've only seen it on the Hudson.
power lines are right in front of my house, between me and the lake. And they come and they sit there because they can see nest.
Mhm.
They're actually in your pine tree more often than you know, I think.
Oh, I've never seen them in a while.
They're always, like, I set up the spotting scope last year and we watched both of them. They were just sitting there. This was late fall before they migrate, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is before they were migrating, and the kids all got to, I mean, I think I have pictures on my phone, actually, through the spotting scope.
So another homework assignment, you know the cell phone tower on the 66
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah.
2 years ago, they had an osprey nest on it. They're back.
Yeah, all right.
I saw 2 osprey floating up above Brett Park yesterday. I'm pretty sure that those are the way they're behaving. They're probably on that tower.
I've seen the ospreys over in Mono Pond.
Sure, yeah, they scoot all around, absolutely, yeah, you know, and they're back. That's pretty intriguing too.
Yeah.
Another one of these GAT remnants, you know. Thank you.
Ready to adjourn?
I am.
And